Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Canned Air, your tribute to pop culture. I am Jeremy Colley.
And I'm Jack Doherty.
And I'm Randy Hardenbrook.
And joining us today to talk about his comic Big Shoulders, issue number 1, that was just successfully funded on Kickstarter and had a beautiful little write-up in the Chicago Sun-Times. Congrats on that, man. We welcome writer John Dudley to the show. John, thank you for being here, man.
Howdy, gang. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
I'm excited to hang out and talk with you. Read your book, or at least the preview. It was awesome. I can't wait to see more. But, you know, it also is inspiring what we're going to be talking about in the first half of this episode. Before we talk with John about the book and, you know, a little bit about himself, where he comes from, we're going to be looking at fictional bands from across pop culture, television, books, comics. You guys know how it works. And I don't know that we've ever done this. I think we've talked bands before, but I don't know about fictional bands. You guys recall any time we've done that?
No, and I'm kind of screwed for this episode because I could have swore it said brands.
What?
And I don't know why. It was fictional brands.
Oh, the senility is real with this one.
Is that, I didn't write that.
It does
shit.
say bands. No, it does say bands.
I thought we were doing fictional breads.
He was watching Steve Brule at the time, maybe. He likes to throw a lot of R's in words that don't have R's.
Shut up, Bob.
I think you'll manage just fine, and if not, I've got a few extra here on my list. But
All right.
so let's just kick it right off. Like I said last time we recorded, we're not going to be sitting here and going through all the socials at the top and the end of the episode. You know, watching the video, we got the banners around us. You can see what our handles are, see what the website is. Why sit here and reiterate, right? Let's just get right to it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Do it.
Thanks for the enthusiasm. All right,
I'm
guys.
enthusiastic.
And that's why I thanked you. All right, guys, let's talk about some fictional bands from across pop culture. Jack, kick us off.
Charmin Ultra.
I came across one real quick that I guess they're not real because they don't really tour, but I'm a big fan of the Pitch Perfect movies. I don't know why.
That tracks.
Me neither.
The Bellas?
Yeah, the Barton Bellas. Technically, I guess they are because they all sing and perform together, but they don't actually go out and perform together.
What?
So technically, I guess that would make them not.
What?
It's a cappella.
Yeah, no, yeah, but why? Like, how did this happen?
How did what? I liked them?
Yeah.
Well,
Or no,
you see,
I mean, like, how did you take a chance on it? Like, it seems like it would have been something like a girlfriend or a date would have been like, "Hey, you want to watch this with me?" But like, were you just sitting home alone, and be like, I'll give it a shot.
I think it was on TV. Plus, what's her name? The lead is. I'm in love with her.
What was that, Rebel Wilson?
Yeah, no. Though she do look all right now. After she lost weight, she looks pretty good. But still, yeah, I know.
I'd rather hang out with Amy Poehler than Rebel Wilson.
I just figured Jack was, all excited to watch High School Musical and messed up and started watching Pitch Perfect. But
Hey, I support you. Pitch Perfect. That's a funny movie. I convinced a buddy to watch that. We went to like Lollapalooza in Chicago, and he told me he hadn't seen Pitch Perfect. And I said, "Let's go." And we sat down and watched it at Lollapalooza.
So it's a bro movie?
No,
Maybe not.
maybe not so much. I mean, there's a bros doing a cappella, so I guess that could be.
It's got the Workaholics dude. The
Adam Devine or Devine or whatever his
really?
name is. That his name? Yeah,
he's hilarious.
yeah, which surprised me that he can actually hold a tune.
So it's a comedy.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Thought it was just like a dramatic, I don't know, dramatic movie. You know how like those movies where like the street dance hip groups like try to get into the competition and make it big, and those movies are always really dramatic and corny.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a mockumentary version of like exactly that.
Okay.
It's more mockumentary than maybe we're thinking, and maybe more than I'm even remembering.
One of the best parts of that is the podcast duo. Elizabeth Banks and I can't remember the other guy, but they're sitting there. They're always ripping on everyone. They're just like the commentary of the performances and stuff when they're competing.
Yeah, it's
they're hilarious though.
It's like a best in show like riff track of like the movie
yeah,
you're
yep.
watching.
Exactly. It's if you like, I mean, appreciate music and stuff. I don't know. An acapella is not really that easy to do.
I've got nothing against a cappella at all. And I guess I shouldn't have anything against this movie. Are you guys on their payroll? Like, you guys are really like pushing this strong and in tandem. This is like being at the grocery store and like the dude walks up in the black Spectrum shirt, like, hey, who's your internet provider?
Wouldn't have bet this being the first one to come out of the conversation.
You and me
really.
both,
Yeah.
especially since he thought it was brands and not bands. That's I gotta say. That's why I picked you first. That's
Slurm's my first pick.
I picked you first because you were unprepared and you managed. You did well. All right. Well,
Proud of you,
since
Jack.
John was so eager to jump in the Pitch Perfect boat with you, let's have him go next. Let's see what his pick is.
This is one I think will probably be a little more apropos. The first one that came to my mind was Wild Stallions.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bravo.
yeah.
I'm surprised that even eluded me when trying to think of this.
Right? Bill and Ted.
Yes, sir.
I would say technically they're not even a band because they barely even play, but I guess in the
That's why
future they are because they are the greatest band ever.
Well,
And I think that's why I love them is because they suck. They like really suck.
did you see the third one? Face the Music. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah, I did, and I think I liked it, but it faded fast.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, right. I mean, none of them are going to have the long-standing effect that the first one did, but I liked it better than Bogus Journey. Bogus Journey was not a favorite for me at all.
Yeah, I think I was the right age for that one. That was actually the one that hit for me. I was probably like
Really?
7 or 8 and saw that one in the theater.
That one was so cheesy and corny with Station running around and then, you know, all the evil us's and then death.
Oh, see,
It was
but
more just
bringing
fun
Death
and-
in was awesome, though. I
Yeah.
will give it that. Like, that was awesome. And Evil Us's, but I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it. Or maybe not.
Death to get out of the hell, they challenged Death to a game of Battleship. He says, "You have sunk my battleship." That's how they hell.
And then in Face the Music, when they were in hell and they had to find him to get him out of hell. And it's like they had been in this, another group together and had a bad falling out. Remember? That was so funny. Oh my God. And his dad, when they were in hell, like how corny he was like, son, it's only now that we're dead and here burning in hell that I see the error of my ways. Oh man, I need to shut up. You got me excited.
The actor that played Death and all the other stuff he's played in, I never stand him. Anytime I saw him, I was just like,
Who is
ugh, this guy. I can't remember his name. But as Death, great. I love him in that role. That's probably like my favorite role that the guy's ever been in.
Am I misremembering, or did they do like a cartoon series of Bill and Ted too?
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Bill and
Okay,
Ted's
all right.
Excellent Adventure. That's how the theme song went. William Sadler is Death's name, the actor who plays Death.
Yep. Yeah, everything else he's been in, I've always hated him.
What else has he been in? He looks kind of familiar.
I'm going to check his IMDb right now.
Well, I am looking
Other
right
stuff
now.
to talk about.
Oh yeah, he was.
I'm shooting him an email.
Oh, Shawshank. He was in Shawshank.
Yeah, and Jack should know that real well.
Oh, he was Haywood. He
I
was
seen
one of the
it
inmates,
once.
like one of
Yeah.
the principal inmates.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2.
He was also in a really good episode of Tales in the Crypt.
Hmm.
Tales from the Crypt. My bad.
I think I read the novelization of one of either Bill and Ted 1 or Bill and Ted 2.
Well, yeah, are you talking like the Scholastic ones when we were
I was
kids?
just
yeah.
going to say, the one you get
Yeah.
from school.
Like you circle, you get it, you get the
Yes.
Scholastic thing at school and you put a big circle around that one. Like that's the one.
Wasn't that so fucking exciting when they handed out those leaflets at school? Like, it was so fun to sit there and peruse and think, I'm going to get this one and this one and this one. I still have some of them. I've got the Ghostbuster 2 novelization. I have the first and second Turtle novelizations. can't even remember what else. I think I have the Free Willy one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean,
Those
any
catalogs
movie.
they
Go
were
ahead.
so visual. It was like kind of like getting a comic shop at school.
Yeah.
You really just like poured over the pages.
Yeah. And then turning in your slip with the check your parents give you and then just waiting like, oh, they're coming. They're coming. Yeah. I wish they still had those things. There's something that's not quite as rewarding as the instant gratification that Amazon gives us. I mean, yeah, it's convenient and stuff, but something about with that paper was so thin, like it ripped so easy, but just, the excitement of waiting for them to come in the mail, never knowing when they're going to show up. And as soon as you forget about them, bam, it's like Christmas in July.
That paper was just grooming us to get a little bit older as teenagers and getting 30
Columbia
CDs
House.
for
Yep. 12 CDs for a penny.
Yep.
That's how I got turned
And then-
on to some of my favorite bands. Exactly like that.
Just happened to get those random CDs and listened to it and liked it. And was like, yeah, I'll pay this.
Yeah, you
No.
just open a box that comes in the mail randomly, and it's like, wow, a cassette of the Twister soundtrack. How'd they know?
$40.
Yeah, then you get a bill for $30. Like, whoa, what the fuck happened? But anyway, Wild Stallions. That was a good pick, man. Good pick.
Yeah.
Which brings us around to Randy.
So I'm going to go out a little bit off the topic here. And I brought them up on the show before, but I'm going to bring up Epic Rap Battles of History, where it's a YouTube channel that takes fictional characters or characters from history and puts them in, rap battles with each other, which some of the combinations are freaking hilarious.
How do they do that? They just get like a voice actor then to impersonate the character? Or
No,
what?
so they're two different creators. It's Epic Lloyd and Epic Lloyd and somebody else. I totally
That's what I was
blank
going to
on.
name my firstborn. Can't do it now.
Yeah, well, it's already taken. But
Damn, Max Power, Epic Lloyd. Damn.
But anyway, those two dress up as opposite characters, and sometimes they'll have other YouTube creators come on. But the visuals are really well done. But like some of my favorites, they'll do like Terminator versus RoboCop. They've done Gordon Ramsay versus Julia Child. Jim Henson versus Stan Lee, and it's really well written because like all the insults they're throwing back and forth like are true to life and just totally ragging on each other. And it's, if you've got like a couple hours to kill, just start going through the rabbit hole because they've got like 80 videos. They've been around forever.
Epic Rap Battles, you said?
Yep, Epic Rap Battles of History.
That sounds familiar, but I think it's only, again, because you probably brought it up. I don't think that would be on my radar, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, we've talked about him a couple of different times.
Those are hilarious. I've seen.
Have you seen them?
They impersonate whoever they're rapping as. So like
Yeah.
Stan Lee will just be an incredible, exaggerated Stan Lee. And they go way harder than you expect.
And some of those beats are pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, they are. They'll stick in your head.
And they're like decent impersonations.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I will check it out.
Pretty good.
It takes about 3 times of you telling me something to be like, you know what, maybe I will.
I'll keep that in mind.
that hard crust you got to get through to finally.
Just say it 3 times
that.
the first time you say it, like Beetlejuice.
I'm just gonna have a whiteboard of things I've told Jack and Jeremy and start tallying it off. Like, oh,
There you
that was
go.
2.
It'll
Yeah.
look like a prison wall. Oh,
Be like,
I
this is my chance. I've already told him 3 times, so I could tell him about it. Say something, about it, and he'll understand.
I mentioned Turtles 3 doesn't suck 82 times. You're still not listening.
now he'll watch that Transylvania movie.
Yeah. I'll get my Legend DVD back.
No, that
Yeah.
shit's gone.
No, it's not.
All right. Who remembers the movie? I don't know. Maybe Randy's a little too young. I'm not sure how old you are, John, but from 1996 called That Thing You Do.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
like the Beach Boys, like kind of.
It was
Kinda.
written and directed by Tom Hanks, and
Okay.
essentially you're kind of right. I mean, it's not about the Beach Boys. It's a fictional band called The Wonders. That's
The Oneaters.
The Oneaters. Yes, I can't believe you remembered that. Because in the movie, they spelled their band name not like the traditional Wonders. It was the number 1 with DERS on it, and everyone kept pronouncing it Oneaters. But anyway, yeah, it was about it's a band who was, experiencing the same kind of thing that all these little garage bands were kind of in the 60s. Everybody looking for the new sound, looking for, new bands, the height of the Beatles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the new Beatles.
So, the movie follows this band that came together, wrote a couple songs, had like a summer where they went on tour, had one hit, and then, they were their own worst enemy. It took one person to ruin it for the rest of them. It was such a good film. And doing this research, I almost threw it in last night and watched it again because it's been a minute. And it's just, again, really good. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But the soundtrack, when that thing came out, I listened to it so much. Do you guys remember it at all?
Oh, the song. I remember every note of the song. That one, the thing that really stuck out was that that song sounds like the ultimate like one-hit wonder.
Doesn't it though?
You think it was a real song from, 1960, whatever. Like they really nailed that aspect of it.
It's timeless.
The part was,
no matter when you listen to it, it still sounds like it could be. It sounds like an older song, but it's still very relevant. Sorry, Jack.
Best part was that none of them had any music capabilities either. They all had to learn to play everything and sing.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember that when, like, the makings of it once it came out, or maybe it was after I had watched it. It was a documentary on it, but yeah, they had to totally learn everything. Even that drummer, he didn't know how to drum for nothing.
Really?
It wasn't a hard beat, but yeah.
Wow.
Who all's in that? I know Tom Hanks and the one guy from Sahara, but I can't remember.
Ethan Embry's in it. Steve Zahn. I don't remember the drummer's name. Liv Tyler.
Okay.
That's right. She was in it too.
Sean Whelan. I'd have to go look. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that Liv Tyler said that she was embarrassed of ever having done that film. And I thought, what the fuck? Why? It was a good movie. I don't know.
Maybe it was just her role or something in it, because she wasn't that great of a person in that, wasn't she? Wasn't she like a big cheater?
She was charming as could be. She was like the best girlfriend. It was like she was dating the lead singer of the band, and he was a complete asshole. And then she left him at the end, and then the drummer ended up getting with her, and then that's where the movie ended.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, that's right.
But she was charming as could be. What was that, John?
Bryan Cranston was in it, and Charlize Theron.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Were they really?
I don't remember. I remember her, but where was he in it?
Sneaking around somewhere. Virgil Gus.
How would I? Man, I guess that would have been way before like Malcolm in the Middle or anything. That would have been.
Yeah, he'd have had a super baby face too. As hard
that
as
was
he
the
looks
same
now.
time he was doing Power Rangers. So.
Yeah, that's right.
He was still a no name. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't remember him in that film, unless he was like their first manager or something. Anyway, getting too long winded about it. If you guys haven't heard That Thing You Do, the song, or seen the movie, check it out because it's awesome. And where we at?
Stuck in my head now.
That's a good problem to have, Jack.
Yeah, I guess
it could be worse. You could have like some
breaking my heart into a million pieces.
Oh man! All right, who's got another pick? Let's go get a few more before we move on.
The Lone Rangers.
Oh, dude, I literally just had that pop into my head.
What's that from?
Airheads.
Airheads.
Oh wow!
Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler and
Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
That's a great call.
The only Oscar winner of the three.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that until just talking about that movie. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that. And I thought Empire Records, and then it was like, oh shit, Airheads.
There wasn't a band in Empire Records, was there?
No, I was thinking it made the jump with Liv Tyler.
There was that sleazeball dude that Liv Tyler was obsessed with.
Oh, you're right. And then they did a
Rex,
gig on the Empire at
Rex
the end of the
Madison
movie.
Or
yeah. And then what's her name? Renee Zellweger sings some original music, I think.
That was like really her music?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
But her character, at least.
Yeah. And you could definitely tell that somebody else was singing that. At least I think so. Maybe not. Maybe it was just her. Maybe it was her voice just pre-recorded and not sunk to the live scene well enough. But that was a good movie too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rex Manning, that's who it was.
Oh,
Rex Manning.
old school pulls.
Can't be sad. Not on Rex Manning Day.
Sorry, Jack, we stole
So
your thunder
long.
about Airheads.
No, I barely remember what
Yeah,
we were talking
I haven't
about.
seen Airheads since
Empire Records.
I haven't seen Airheads since it like first came out on VHS, like long time ago. So I remember virtually nothing about it.
The
I don't know
only
if anyone
thing,
has seen that movie in 20 years.
the only thing
You're
that,
right.
the only thing I remember about that movie is the part where he takes the contract and like wipes his ass with it, and the radio DJ is like, he just wiped the contract with his ass.
Mm.
They were talking about how metal that was, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe that was Steve Buscemi in the band too. It's like fresh-faced Steve Buscemi. I think of him as being like 30 years older than Brendan Fraser, but they were like the same age.
Yeah.
He fit the look too once he had his long hair and a goatee. He looked straight
did.
hard rock metal.
You think that movie'd be worth rewatching?
I think.
Chris Farley's in it, so yeah.
Chris Farley's?
Was he like a roadie or something?
He was a cop.
Yeah, him and I've got it pulled up. Him and Ernie, Judd Nelson's in it.
Wow.
Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, Judd Nelson was a record exec that came to sign them at the end to get out of the radio the station that they were holding up.
Rob Zombie, Lemmy Kilmister. I mean, yeah, I'd say that's probably worth a rewatch.
Yeah, I would say so too. I didn't know Lemmy was in it.
Yeah, I remember Lemmy being in it.
Might be bringing this movie back. The beginning
Heard
of
it here first.
cult classic status.
That's what we do,
Yeah.
man.
Well, we don't need to say it too loud, or frickin' Chris Evans will make a remake of it.
What's his name from Spinal
Or
Tap
Chris
was in it,
Pratt.
too.
Sorry.
I heard, weren't they working on a second Spinal Tap film?
Are they?
I swore that I heard that was being done finally, along with Spaceballs 2.
Spaceballs 2's I've definitely heard about it, which is surprising since Mel Brooks just turned in like 98.
No,
like
shit,
the other day,
man. Like when I read that news, I thought, okay, I can't remember the name of the guy who's doing it. Do you remember the guy who's doing it alongside? It's I can't remember a role he's been in to reference him.
Rob Reiner?
No, some younger guy. I can't think of anything he's in to say he was in this. You would know him in a heartbeat if you saw him. But if I were him and was taking on this task, writing it with Mel Brooks, wouldn't you just be like working as fucking fast as you could on everything? Being thorough, but just getting that shit done now before you.
We're not sure how much time he's got left. We got to get this shit finished.
That fuse is short, man.
So
they did the History of the World Part 2 a couple of years ago, and that really came and went. I didn't really hear any chatter about that, but that was a Mel Brooks movie.
Well, they didn't.
Back in the 80s.
That wasn't in the theaters though, right? That was like a straight to Hulu release.
Oh yeah, it was. It was like a streaming thing, probably made like in the height of the pandemic and kind of.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people even know about the first History of the World, the part 1.
That's a good point.
That is so old. And it's very dated, so it's very hard to watch too.
Yeah. Not
comedy
on
itself.
Baseballs or other Mel Brooks.
Right. Yep.
Do you think that Mel Brooks will reprise any of his roles, Scroob or Yogurt at 98 years old?
Gotta do Yogurt. I mean, Yoda, 98-year-old playing Yoda, like, come on, that's right there.
I sure hope so.
So I just pulled it up, and Spinal Tap 2 is legit happening. It is being directed by Rob Reiner. They're currently filming in New Orleans, and
working as fast as they can too. Because
Well, shoot, all of them are up there.
Yeah, but fuck, man. Mel, have you
I mean-
seen him lately?
Well, no, Mel, yeah.
So real quick, they've got a list of people attached to it, and the musicians that are supposedly supposed to have cameos in it. Paul McCartney, Elton
Spaceballs?
John. No,
Oh.
Spinal Tap 2. Paul McCartney, Elton John, Garth Brooks, Questlove, and Lars Ulrich from Metallica.
Lars, I could see everybody else, but Lars is kind of a weird one.
I want Garth Brooks to bring back his hard rock persona for
Chris
that film.
Gaines, hell yes.
And
Oh man, I watched a skit on an old SNL skit when Garth Brooks hosted years ago, where he was he was playing this loser who was unemployed. Like his girlfriend got home. She's like, "Why aren't you at work?" He goes, "Oh, I got
I've seen
fired."
that.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'd sell my soul to the devil to write a hit song." And then Will Ferrell shows up dressed as the devil, and then can't give him shit. Oh, it was so fucking funny.
That was a really
Dude.
good skit.
Will Ferrell's song is so dumb. It's like, I don't like work. I prefer the weekend. And he's like, no, I can do better. I can do better.
And he sets every new song he plays up with like, taste this like
Sick lick or
yeah.
sick lyric or
Lay
something
your
like that.
ears on this sick riff. All right,
Here's
how do
a
I do this
tasty
again?
morsel for you.
Then he just immediately goes into his normal voice. Okay, hang on a minute. I'll get it. Shit, that was funny. They don't make them like that anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
It's few and far between if they do.
I've got one more quick pick, unless anyone else has one.
No, go ahead.
Somebody said earlier a fake band that became real or something. I don't remember the context, but that kind of falls into one of my picks, the Monkees, another band from the 60s. But, they started as a group that was put together and, for a TV show, they had people writing their songs for them. But, as they grew and the rumors started, because, people at home took it as this is them all really playing and this is music they're really writing. They got frustrated. And, I think Davy Jones and Mike Nesmith already were musicians, but the other two weren't. They were just on camera. So they had to learn shit and became
Peter
a
and
real
Mickey
band.
weren't?
Huh?
Mickey and Peter weren't?
Mickey wasn't. Peter wasn't either. Because
Really?
Davey
He's the
came from
bass player.
Davey came from a singing background.
Right. I know he didn't play anything. He only sang really though.
I think Peter may have had some. I think he's related to some big musician actually, but I can't remember the context of it. I just watched a documentary about them not too long ago, and it was fascinating how these guys, wouldn't settle for being this fake band that was being shit on. They're like, we're going to be a real band. We're going to go on tour, and they did. And of course, they didn't do nearly as good as the fucking Beatles, but all the same.
Technically, they're the first boy band because they didn't know each other or anything. Not like how the Jackson 5 or family and stuff. Everyone else was all
Yeah.
related or friends. They were nobody to each other.
And now there's only one.
And then remember in what was it, the late 80s, I think they tried to make them the new Monkees. That didn't go anywhere.
No.
Yeah, I think they tried to do the same thing again, but it was 80s music for one, so
It's like when, remember when the 80s when Kiss went on Arsenio Hall and took all their makeup off for the first time or something like that? It was like, the fuck are they doing?
good God, that's Gene Simmons. Ooh.
Yeah, people are here for the show, not entirely the music. I think the music needs the show along with it to help it along,
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm sure there's Kiss Army people out there that just got really pissed off at me. Are you part of the Kiss Army, John?
They pushed pause just now.
No, sadly not. Detroit Rock City was a fun movie. I'll give them that.
Oh my God, what a great movie. What a great movie. I was just thinking about that movie the other day. And that needs a rewatch too.
Yeah, I wonder if that one holds up. It's hard to say.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I am sure it probably does. Oh my God, I watched that so many times.
I love those movies that are like all take place in one night, and it's all just about trying to like get to the concert or like
Yeah.
get to the girl or those movies always have a lot of nostalgia because they kind of feel real. Like they kind of feel like your mental perception of like that ultimate night.
Exactly.
Like Harold
and
and
it makes
Kumar.
you want to, it's got movies kind of like The Hangover. It's like where it was so cool to watch that you're like, man, I wish me and my buddies had a night like that. I'd more so go for Detroit Rock City than The Hangover. Hangover seems very stereotypical, like douchebag
Tijuana
party. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I'm assuming the Kiss movie is a lot better than the Kiss video game, the Psycho Circus, that was like the Doom clone.
Yes.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and say.
Never played it, but yes.
Although I think the Kiss pinball machine is considered like by people that are really into pinball machines. I think that's considered like kind of like one of the goats.
Right. Wasn't it one of the first like commercialized like themed pinball machines? I mean, pinball machines were around, but one that like kind of featured a brand like Kiss.
Oh man, my knowledge of pinball machines was just exerted. It's an inch deep. It's like my.
I'm tired now.
One factoid.
Take a nap.
I do know they were all made in Chicago. That my second thing is like that whatever company it is that makes basically all pinball machines is somewhere in the Chicago area. So there's like a huge concentration of pinball machines. Like more restaurants and stuff around here just have them laying around because they were all either still are or were all made somewhere in Chicagoland.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and like that's probably a murky fact. I think it's correct.
That's pretty neat, though. I haven't played pinball. Well, it's not true. I played pinball fairly recently, Jack, when we were at the what was that, level 1 Up bar arcade not that long ago. Last couple years.
Yeah, I always hit the pinball, at least a couple of them. When
It just pisses me off in those barcades. Like the arcade cabinets, free to play, but the pinball, you got to be chucking them fucking quarters in.
Yep, I thought we were past chucking quarters.
Yeah,
this digital
21st
age.
century.
Can I just tap my card at least?
Oh, that would be dangerous, man. You sitting there drunk, just tapping your card, not keeping track of shit the next day.
I want to play some more.
I spent $60 on Kiss Pinball. Are you kidding? All right. Any
No
other
rent this week.
Guess I'll play more pinball. Any other picks we had to get off our chest?
Oh, I have to throw one more out.
Okay.
From the Muppets, Dr. Teeth and
Electric
yes.
Mayhem. Yes. Yeah. Talk about how cool. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John. Finish your what you were saying.
I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No.
No.
Go for it. I'm sorry. I keep. You're getting me excited with your picks. I'll shut up. Talk.
Yeah. Well, the book I'm working on, we're actually trying to get an alternate cover from Roger Langridge, who wrote and did the art on the Muppets comic for quite a while. He might do an alt cover for our book, and I almost just want him to do a Muppets cover version of the character. Muppetized, so to speak, which would be pretty dope.
That would be sweet.
Definitely.
That would be really sweet. So he's like talking like he's going to do it, or are you still like trying to convince him? Or
no, it's a stretch goal on our Kickstarter. If we get up to 110%, he's going to do an alternate cover for us.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see that, because I mean, it sounds like you're going to hit that. Let's just start talking about your book. Unless you was there more you wanted to say about Electric Mayhem?
No, that turned out to be a great segue.
It was. I wanted to say really quick though, Jack, I don't know if you or Randy, I don't know if you guys remember, because I don't remember when it was. We were on the show talking about Muppets some time ago, and we had come to the realization, we had found out online or through someone who was on the show with us, that for a short time, those puppeteers went on a very small tour with Electric Mayhem. Like you could go actually see Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem in concert.
I'm talking about that.
But I don't think they came anywhere close to here. But can you imagine how freaking cool that would have been?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. They did. There was a show about Electric Mayhem very recently, a year or so ago, and it was actually pretty good. it was like a Disney Plus show,
Yeah.
about Electric Mayhem, and it was it was like a behind the scenes following the band, but it was all a joke.
Yeah.
It's worth watching.
I've watched a few episodes. Was Billy Corgan in one of them?
That was the new Muppets TV show that he was in.
There were a lot.
Or no,
It was
because that
Electric
was
Mayhem.
following Electric. Yeah, that's right. It was. Yeah.
There were a lot of cameos, but it was more like the hip, like modern acts that I don't really follow as much. Was they really going after the younger audience, which was probably smart, but
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't really get who the special guests were, like top 10 artists that I have no idea who they were.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
All right, Disney, if you're listening to this, we want a mockumentary, like VH1 style, getting the band back together of Electric Mayhem. Like, come on.
Randy, you know nothing about Disney. Disney does not hear what we want. Disney tells us what we want.
Yes.
Hey,
and we say thank you and absorb it. Or make horrible reaction videos about how bad you hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much in between.
Yeah. It really isn't. It's a black and white, isn't it? No gray. All right, John, let's talk about this book. Again, Big Shoulders, which the preview was really fun to read, and it's quite a hook. Very well baited hook you have there. But before I say anything, I want you to tell our listeners all about Big Shoulders.
Yeah, thanks. So Big Shoulders is a book I'm working on. I've got a co-creator, Scott Gray, who's the artist on the book. Scott is very well known. He's been working on Doctor Who comics for 20 some odd years now. Has a rich history as a writer in the industry more than an artist, in fact. So it's kind of interesting that I'm writing this with someone who's so accomplished as a writer himself.
Right.
He wrote like some X-Men comics for Marvel 15 years ago or so, and some all ages Marvel Adventures books, stuff like that. And what Big Shoulders is that we got some press in Chicago calling it a love letter to the city of Chicago. And so we've kind of been saying those words a lot. And it's fair. It's true. It's an anthology story with a central hook that all of the stories take place or weave through the city of Chicago, kind of our version of the city of Chicago, at least. And every story that weaves through it is of its own genre. So we have a rich, fantasy kind of story with dragons that's happening, that's weaving through. We have a sci-fi story with kind of like we call it, there's two FBI agents. We call them the X-Files meets the Odd Couple, investigating something at the bottom of Lake Michigan. And that's a very, sci-fi story. And then I guess, on the fictional band subject, we've got and this is one that, really is one of the beating hearts of the story, I feel like, is because it kind of speaks to the artistic endeavor, trying to make something, is a really crappy band called Broken Oar. And they've just got their first gig, and maybe they might turn out to be great, but they're kind of scrapping it out. It's some indie stuff. They've just gotten their first gig on Tuesday nights at the Fire Escape. And unfortunately, the drummer of the band might be infected by a demon, but they've still got to make the show. So there's all of these tales happening at once, and one of the nicknames of Chicago is the Crossroads City. Everybody's flown through O'Hare, all the highway arteries through the city. So we've kind of woven the crossroad motif into this anthology of stories, and we have some of these stories intersect in really fun ways, and you start to see that in our preview. So we completed 8 pages and had that in our Kickstarter to kind of be that hook, like you said,
right?
And then we're fully funded, so we're making the first issue, unless unless a bunch of people back out at the last minute, which I didn't know was a possibility. But apparently is. So that's kind of like an exciting thing to think about, because we're like exactly at 100%. We've got like 24 hours as of right now. So So yeah, assuming assuming nothing catastrophic happens, we're gonna make the dang thing.
I can't imagine, like maybe one, right? Like I can't imagine. There's a lot of people waiting for that last minute to be like, cancel.
Yeah, I can't either. There are some bots. It's funny. I don't have a ton of history with Kickstarter, but there are some bots. There are some people that back your project, and then you get a little message from them like, "Hey, we do marketing. We could do some marketing for you." And then you ignore the email, and then that money just goes away. But yeah, it is just a few, and it's kind of interesting to watch happen. But yeah, Big Shoulders is something I've lived in Chicago for a while. I found my home here. My wife now have some raising little Chicagoans, despite having never been here myself. But it is kind of my way of writing a love letter to the city. That's such a choose your own adventure place. And another kind of central theme is that Chicago's been Gotham City a lot. It gets a lot of bad press sometimes. Not to say it's perfect, but it's a little overdone. So we're really making an intentional effort for these stories to be of every possible genre, and really, very thoroughly express the fact that this is a place where anything can happen. Not just the Joker on a rampage.
Yeah. And with the concept you guys are doing, all these stories kind of intersecting in these crossroads, you talked about dragons and stuff. You talked about the band. There's always something new you can write about. Like that's a deep well of ideas you can take from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm kind of surprised at how anxious I'm not about like really defining exactly where everything's going to go. Because and Scott, my co-creator, Scott Gray, he's of a like mind. We've got a lot of ideas, and we have a good framework for where some of these macro storylines are going. But we're very intentionally keeping doors open. And as we're really actively weaving things together now, being able to have as many doors open as possible is a part of the story. It feels apropos. And even Scott, who's an incredible writer himself, is we're really making a point to hit the brakes sometimes to make sure we don't paint ourselves into too many corners. That's part of the story for sure.
So, and I don't. Oh, sorry, Jared.
No. Go ahead.
So I don't know if this kind of leads into spoilers or anything, but is it? So if I'm understanding it right, it's more of like a heavy metal approach as opposed to Pulp Fiction, or is it like do the characters just kind of pass by each other, or is it more like building on top of each?
Good. That's a cool call out. I hadn't thought of it like that. I think it is a little more Pulp Fiction because there's some substantive overlap. In fact. Yeah, there's even a collision or two along the way where the stories really, really forcefully come together. Sure. But then there are others where it looks like such an obvious collision, and then there's just kind of just ships passing in the night, almost for comedic effect.
Got it.
That's cool. So how did you and Scott Gray come to meet each other? Is this, before you answer that, is this your first project?
This no, I've done a 6-issue comic with my good buddy here in Chicago, Don Cardenas.
Okay.
And that was 2017, 2018, roughly. And then I've done some short stories here and there. This is my first successfully funded Kickstarter. I had one failed effort. Actually, that 6-issue project with Don, unfortunately, we didn't know what we were doing. We put such a high goal for a little indie effort, just thinking like, why not just have a bunch of money? Yeah. But we had some success with that project for sure. And Don's gone on to do some really awesome projects and have a lot of successful Kickstarters. And I actually picked his brain a ton ahead of working with Scott. And he's helped out. He actually did the logo for our band, Broken Ore. Don actually designed that logo, so it's really kind of neat to have another collaborator I've worked with have a little piece in this puzzle too. And I like to call out Don as much as possible because he's kind of the man.
That's awesome.
So, but that wasn't your question. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
Yeah, no, Scott. I was working with Scott. Actually, commissioned a piece of art from him. He does these really cool psychedelic Doctor Who prints. That he's very much associated with Doctor Who, having worked in that in the syndicated Doctor Who magazine for a number of years. And in fact, after commissioning that, started talking with him about this project, and even wrote a lot of it with his art in mind. I really like how Scott can build kind of a great kind of not hyper reality, but he can have a very realistic sense of line work, but then he can just blow it up into psychedelic insanity. So I really made a point every 2 or 3 pages in Big Shoulders. We're really going to take that break from reality. And it's the first time I've ever written something almost entirely with a specific artist in mind. So I think it marries itself.
That's pretty cool. But you were writing it with that art style in mind before you had pinned him down, or after?
I had a pretty good outline for the story, but it definitely got way more psychedelic. Looking at his work, I'd scrap ideas and make them 10 times more psychedelic. And then, he does too. If he has suggestions, it's always to create a better visual storytelling and to really take advantage of the medium, that obviously comics is expressive. It's just anybody who puts a pen on a piece of paper, sky's the limit. It lends itself to blowing things up. Right.
One thing in this comic that really stood out to me while I was reading it was while the guys are waiting to talk to the club manager to see if they're going to get their gig, and I think even after, there's a lot of commentary, not only from the narrator but from the characters about the music they're hearing. Some of them are saying, "Oh no, this music sucks," and the other ones are going, "Well, there's got to be something to it. Look at the way these people are acting." The way you guys were talking about the music lent me to believe that you're probably a musician yourself, or Scott. Would that be accurate or no?
It's actually not. It's wish fulfillment. I've never had a music lesson in my life. Scott, I actually can't speak for, but it'd be weird if he never brought it up. But no, it's wish fulfillment, really, and a love of music.
For sure. You don't have to be a musician to have a deep love for music, do you?
Oh, for sure. No, and that's always been one of the things about Chicago that really drew me in was the live music scene, and falling pretty deeply into that just as a nerd, not an active participant. But we did have Charlie Adlard, actually, the artist of The Walking Dead. He did a variant cover for us, which is an option in the Kickstarter, and he's a drummer himself.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And Scott and he, I know, have talked about various panels of the book and things, and Scott has consulted with him on some of the imagery and little things of, like the kick drum doesn't look like that, just little subtle things like that, which I'm thankful for, because I definitely would miss things like that if I were an artist.
I wanted to know what the kick drum looked like before now.
It doesn't. It's not up there. It's down.
Okay. He's hitting it with his head. Wow. All right. Well, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. When I was reading, I was like, these guys are musicians. They got to be. Look at the way they're passionate about music.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that too. Yeah, that's one. We kind of have a veneer of reality, but it's a very surreal adventure through Chicago. So if we get anything wrong, it's just part of the fantasy.
Sure. Wink, wink.
We meant to do that. Yeah.
Are there any plans in the future to go to cons? Have any con appearances to promote the book? Anything like that?
Yeah, I'm actually working out. Speaking of music. Looks like I'm. It's not completely set in stone, but it looks likely I'll have a booth at Riot Fest, which is a big music festival in Chicago, in September. The book won't be. I won't have it on hand yet. But we've got T-shirts. Like I'm wearing one here actually.
Wow, that's tight.
Yeah, we got T-shirts and stickers and stuff like that, and just kind of going to get the name and iconography out. And I'll be at a booth with a buddy who will have books available of his own. But then C2E2 is the big one in Chicago in the spring, and we will definitely have the book on hand way before that, and that'll be my surefire bet. Unless they won't have me, I suspect they will. So
see why they wouldn't.
Yeah,
it would be weird. I've had a booth there before with buddies, but having a Chicago centric book, come on.
That'd be pretty. That'd be prudish of them to turn you away, I think.
Yeah. I hope
you don't like Chicago or something?
What's your problem, bro?
Come on here.
Let's get like a, like Spider-Man. Just get the whole city behind me. You mess,
really.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's everyone's dream is to have one moment like that in their life. Just have an entire city band behind you. Defeat the Green Goblin together.
I'm still waiting for my moment.
You'll get it.
I don't think so, John, but I like your
I
optimism.
almost had it.
You almost had it? Then
almost. What? And I woke up.
All right. Well, you'll have to tell me about that dream. But before you do, John, you were just saying, you're going to have the book on hand at C2E2. So that's going to be one way for people who, maybe missed the Kickstarter to get their hands on it. How are people going to be able to get a copy of it for themselves who didn't get a chance to back the Kickstarter or can't make it to C2E2?
Yeah, so I've set it up. This is new ground for me, but I've set up the Kickstarter so that you can still actually order copies of the book even after the Kickstarter ends.
Wow. Okay, perfect. I'll put a link in the description.
And I'm not entirely certain how that works, but the Kickstarter ends on the 12th of July, so very soon.
Well, but by the time people are hearing this, it's in the past, John. So let's just act like it's already happened.
But we did it. They got it.
Yeah. So on Kickstarter, Big Shoulders, as I understand it, it's still going to be available to purchase there. We're still working. We actually have 10 pages of the book done, but it's going to be about 32 pages. So it's still going to be 6+ weeks before we're even done with the book. So we're going to leave it for sale up there for a while. So summer 2024, for the most part, it's still going to be available. Okay. And then from there, we'll have it at conventions, and we have a website that's actually already up. BigShoulders.comic.com.
That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Big Shoulders. I forget what it is, but it ain't us. BigShoulders.comic.com. We'll definitely have the book for sale up there eventually. And we've got a lot of info there. In fact, I'm sure I'll put a link to this podcast there as well.
Please do. That'd be awesome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. No doubt about that. Unless you guys do something terrible in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, God. I mean,
I think,
odds are not in our favor. So
as Jeremy just turns me and Jack's mic off. And
then fuck it up all on my own.
Screen slowly fades to black.
This is Homer Simpson backing into the bushes.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's voice just comes on, and mistakes were in fact made.
That's when he realized they fucked up.
Pretty good.
But what else was I going to ask you? What about social media? Is there a social media for yourself or for the comic?
Oh man, running a Kickstarter campaign, I've been more active on social media than I ever have been. I'm probably going to go dark, but it is. We have a social media set up. Big Shoulders. Big Shoulders Comic. I think that's us on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay.
And we'll also have like our email address there. You know, if anybody has any questions, stuff like that. We'll be monitoring all that stuff. Never been my strong suit, but yeah, I'm kind of learning as we go. Scott is better at that than I am.
Here we go. Big Shoulders comic book. Dude, you don't have to tell me anything about it. I've been on this Instagram for years, and I couldn't find my ass in the dark with it. Here we go. Gotcha.
We got a nice website, though. I definitely recommend checking that out. BigShoulders.comic.com. And we've got all our socials on there. Okay.
Perfect. And I'll link everything in the description and the comments below. Or not in the comments, just the description. Why did I say comments? Anyway, John, I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a good time, man. And congrats on being successfully funded. That's got to be an exciting feeling, man.
It is. Yeah. Watching that number tick up and being kind of to the wire is, yeah, it's ready for the Odin sleep now.
We've heard the tales from many people over the years.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in my only other experience, we failed, which was really brutal. I took like 6 years off after that.
But I was going to say something about that earlier. There's a lot of people that after that first failure wouldn't even fuck with it a second time, and you went at it again, different approach and success. Lesson to all you people out there.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, I'm in my 40s too, without a published comic to my name, and this one feels like it's like finding a little bit of an audience. So it's you kind of have to just forget about the trauma and do it again.
Yeah, trust me, man. We've been there. We've had a few bad experiences with guests over the years that made us want to quit overnight, but we kept going. Thank God.
No, and thank you for the opportunity for this conversation. This is really rad. I'm going to think about so many different fictional bands right after this.
Yeah. They're going to all pop up as soon as it's over. Yeah.
Typically how it goes. But if you think of them, write them down, because we're going to have to be doing this again in the future. I mean, there's going to be a second book coming out, right? Eventually. Oh, yeah. So I know you don't want to think about your next Kickstarter yet. You're still coming down off the first or this last one, but our paths are going to cross again.
I hope so. Getting it. Yeah. So much.
The next one will be about bands with their sponsors. So brands will be in play next time.
You know what? We do have some fictional brands. Now that you mention it, we do. We've got an AI overlord with a fictional brand. So yeah, that's just one.
Okay,
there we go.
I'm excited to see the book in its entire form. Jack, really quick before we end the episode here, can you just really quick spout off a couple of the fictional brands you had brought to the table?
Nuka-Cola, Nails Cigarettes. No, Nuka-Cola is Fallout. Yeah.
Oh
man, brain fart on that one. Nails Burn Cigarettes.
What's that from?
View Askew.
It's shit.
Cigarettes at Jay and Silent Bob smoke. Yeah.
What's Movie Burger? What's the
movies? Yeah, movies was another one. And I think
Soul Glow.
Is that all I had?
Coming to America.
Oh,
I don't know,
man.
Yeah.
And Soylent Green.
You said Slurm earlier.
Oh yeah, I was just screwing around with Slurm. I figured one of you guys would have pulled Slurm just because it's a popular brand. Bubblegum Shrimp was the other one.
We knew how to read.
Yeah, clearly. Hey, I don't wear glasses anymore. It's contacts, and I can't read up close anymore. I haven't gotten the readers
yet.
Might
have them in the wrong eyes there, bro.
You might get bifocal contacts.
Yeah, I'm looking into them. I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm worried.
Well, you'll be the only one who knows.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone will look at this idiot running into stuff all over the place. This guy's blind.
It might just be par for the course.
Yeah,
you never know.
Had it coming.
Well, your Rascal has hit detection, right? So with like when you're driving it,
The little meep meep horn on it.
Says
All right.
eyes that beep.
Well, maybe we'll do fictional brands one of these days, Jack.
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will.
I
All
won't
right.
hold my breath.
Well, Jack, go ahead and tell all of our lovely listeners and viewers where they can find us.
You go to cannedairpodcast.com where you can listen, like, follow, subscribe, become a patron, buy some merch, see some YouTube videos, and if you'd like to be a guest and promote your work, send us an email on our contacts page.
And don't forget to find us on Twitter at CannedAirPod, on Instagram at canned_air, and on TikTok at CannedAirPodcast, and at CannedAirPodcast.com, the website Jack was just talking about. A couple different ways you can support us. There's a merch tab, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, hats, all that kind of stuff with Canned Air inspired designs on them, and our Patreon page. It's over 4 years old now, and we've been getting a little experimental with as of late. I think we've been doing some new stuff, and it's transitioned over to the video format too. Everything going forward is going to have a video format, so a lot of stuff over there. 4 or 5 years worth of material to cut through for $5 a month. People, come on! And if you can't part with your $5, just leave us a like, subscribe, give us a comment, something like that, because that stuff helps tremendously. Randy, what else we got?
and a huge shout out to evergreenpodcast.com, the network we are so proud to be a part of.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. John, thank you so much again for stopping by, man. Hope you had a good time.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. We'll definitely do it again in the future. But until then, I am Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
I'm Randy Hardenbrook.
And I'm John Dudley.
Thank you so much for listening and watching, everyone. Be excellent to each other.